Visual branding is what makes your videos feel like they're yours. The colors, lens choices, graphics, and animations are all part of building a world that feels recognizable. Today, I test out a new lens, build some new assets for my videos, and share with you my personal tips on how to develop your own video style. Hi, my name is Selena, and today we're going to be talking about how to develop your video style. Basically, I want to talk about how to develop your taste, the graphics, transitions, coloring, and all the things that contribute to your branding. I really want to create kind of like a template of assets that I can kind of keep using throughout my videos. So for example, like make sure my fonts and my colors are very consistent in every video. First off, I want to talk about focal lengths. I genuinely think focal lengths contribute to a lot to your visual style. I mostly be shooting in like 11 millimeters, 16 millimeters, and 28, so very, very wide. But today I just got a new lens. Alright, so Sirui sent me this 35mm f1.4 lens. It is a great budget alternative to the G Master lens, which I believe is triple the price. You can see the background is super blurry, very cinematic with this lens. I think it can be really easy to keep using your favorite focal lengths, but today will be very interesting because I have a different style lens. I'm gonna try to test out a little bit more about this lens today, show you some of also like my favorite spots in Brooklyn. So let's try this lens out. All of that footage was shot on the Sirui 35mm, and I do have a KNF ND filter on it as well, so everything was shot in that 1.4 aperture, which was very fun. I do think I'm gonna probably end up using it for like B-roll sequences because I love this f1.4. I do think it is like a bit clunkier. I think the autofocus is good and it works, but I think I'm just very much used to Sony autofocus, but the footage did look nice. I've been editing the footage from earlier and this video already feels so different from my others just based off of the lens. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier, where your focal lengths can actually contribute a lot to your video style. Lately, I've been really thinking about the idea of visual branding, and overall, I have already built, a style over time, and style is built over time. I've been wanting to make some new assets that I can use in my videos. I personally think coming up with new things always stems from looking at other works of art that is already out and getting inspiration. So I kind of started doing this a few days ago. Okay, so first off, we're gonna just start with looking at inspiration. I have like a few platforms I like to look at. I also really like to look at like music videos and lyric videos. There's also a site called iCandy that kind of references things. I've talked about FrameSet before, but in general, just looking at other work can really help inspire you. So I'm looking at iCandy right now, and something I want to incorporate is kind of like this mix of like old and new. It's like a motion graphics of like some like text coming in, but it's also like old film looking videos. I also really like hand-drawn things. I've seen a lot of people do this kind of stuff on YouTube, kind of just jotting what I like on a Google Doc. I want to share with you guys what I've been working on. We're gonna start off with colors. There's a website called Coolers where you can pretty much just go through a bunch of different color palettes just by clicking a spacebar. It is super convenient. So I use that as a way to kind of combine colors, see what looks good together. A color that I have honestly always used is purple in my backgrounds, so I want to stick with that. And then I also like to use the color yellow, which goes along as a complementary color. I want to make sure that everything is consistent even in my fonts of my Instagram videos. I want to make sure everything has the same color hex code. What I did was I came up with a color combo in Photoshop, put out all my hex codes, saved it as a PNG, and then I can easily just drag it into any video that I'm working on. Now that I have a solid color palette, moving forward, if I want to create any backgrounds or assets like title slides, I can reference the colors that are part of my branding. Next up, let's talk about some motion graphics. So my idea for the motion graphics section is to kind of use it as like a base background that I can put text over or reference old videos. Really just making a background display. It's just like combining different assets together to make something. I have textured elements that I'm kind of like flipping back and forth with that are different sizes and rotations. And then I also have a scratches overlay. I use this often, and usually my favorite thing to add as well is blurred edges, so it looks a little bit more like three-dimensional. Something that I've also done is I went into my iPad. I personally really love handwritten doodle style stuff to make it feel a bit more personal. Some arrows that I can use in my thumbnails, that's gonna be really helpful. I want to also just continue utilizing different text as animations as well. So a good way to do this is to draw your word out and then make a new layer and then redraw over it and then make another new layer and redraw over it. And it's a great way to have 3 different layers of the same text that you have. I ended up also creating these little thought bubbles. I think that would be cute to utilize. My tip for you guys is even if you don't know how to do something, you can always watch a tutorial online. For example, like I'm not the best at using Illustrator, but I wanted to make the graphic pin element and be able to have that as a PNG. I just searched up how to make like the shapes and I just made it myself. There's so much online information of how to do things. So last week I actually went to Vid Summit with the Adobe team and was inspired to kind of like be much more efficient with my editing process. Creating presets in Premiere speed up your workflow a lot so you're not constantly recreating the same effect over and over again. Some things that I am gonna be ending up using pretty often is zoom ins that are like pretty smooth and like zoom outs. So I made a preset for that. Things like blurring in text and having it come up, creating a visual style, but also creating style that is consistent. I think I keep saying that I want things to be consistent in every video, but I more so mean that I just want to have a framework and I want to be able to have this framework so that I can keep building off of it instead of wasting my time, you know, recreating same things that I've used previously. I mostly really care for just being quick with my editing and staying efficient and just making my videos feel like they have sort of brand identity. Okay, I've just come to the park because, you know, I've been pretty cooped up recently. It's been a lot of work this month and I feel like I'm constantly just filming and editing, and it's really important to just go outside, get some sun, slow down a little, because that is how I come up with new ideas and stay inspired up here. When I look back at like old videos of mine, it's cool to see how much my style has changed, and it's gonna keep changing over time. This video definitely felt like a more slower down video, which I wanted to experiment with. The more videos that you create, the more you understand what you want to keep making, and it's important to just try new things always, even though you know it might not form well or it might end up being like complete trash.
always try new things because you'll always learn from it and you'll always figure out what you like and don't like, which will contribute to your visual style. I've also been thinking a lot about just tapping back into my roots again, like literally playing soccer, but at the same time tapping back into photography. Even this week, my friends and I just took some random like photos on the street as well. It's fun to just do it in play formats and not professionally. You know, when you do video photo as your job now, so blessed, by the way, such a blessing. It can be easy to like feel a little bit less inspired, so just continuing to play around with your friends and shoot and try new things is so important. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought. Comment below what you guys want to see from me in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.